Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And it's Coffee Ann on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Joe Callahan, and at the Coffee Ann table, we'll say hello to Sue Tessier McKenzie from the Blackstone Valley Call-In-Times. Hi, Sue.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Get ready. We're going to go for a first message.
My friend, I don't need to get ready. I just throw that camera at me and I just throw something out.
All right. Well, first we'll say hi to Bob Lauder. Hi, Bob.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Nice to have you here.
Always envy Sue's ability to do this spontaneously.
Right off the top of her
and
head.
Bob has notes and his pen and his pad, and I respect that, but
that's good.
I just see, and I've been wanting to say this for a while, I just see the text gets bigger as time goes on. I've noticed that.
Oh.
There is that.
I wonder why. Why is that, Bob? All right. Well, let's get a first message, though. Sue from the Blackstone Valley Call-In-Times newspaper.
Good morning, everybody. Well, I have not been getting calls regarding the delivery, so I'm hoping that things are going well, or you've been able to connect with the circulation department, which can be difficult to reach, especially during difficult times. However, I did want to point out Mother's Day contest has kicked off. It kicked off last Thursday. Just go online to www.woonsocketcall.com. You can enter to win an overnight to Foxwoods or one of 2 gift certificates to the sponsor of your choice. So whoever those sponsors are, we have CBD Relief and New England Steak and Seafood, Ricard Jewelers, whoever you want a gift certificate from, we will then pick it up for you. Again, it's www.woonsocketcall.com. If you have any questions for me regarding delivery or, more importantly, advertising, which is my job, 487-4136.
Yeah, you're not in the circulation department.
No,
well,
but,
the delivery department.
I try my best to help the customers with whatever they may need.
That's right.
Sometimes it doesn't work.
But you never say, well, what are you calling me for?
No, I will do my best to get the situation resolved.
Very good. All right, Bob, we got a couple of questions for you.
Before that, though, can I?
Okay, go ahead.
You have the logo on your bright blue shirt.
Yes.
It looks like a stallion. Now, is this from
Close.
Idaho?
Yes, it is.
I thought Idaho just had big potatoes. I thought you guys...
Well, not big. They have potatoes. They have
But the
large
school mascot
farm.
isn't a potato?
No.
Golly, that's...
It's actually a bronco, not a stallion.
A bronco.
But close
Okay.
Well, Boise, bronco, the bees kind of go together.
I don't know.
And if
Potato
you
just
came out
seems-
and said we're the fighting potatoes, no one takes you seriously.
They would laugh at them.
That's why I was hoping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even the University of Idaho are the Vandals.
Oh, all right.
Big strong Viking kind of thing. So
I still think Mr. Potato Head is...
that's never going to fly out
too
there.
bad.
So okay. So anyway, we're ready for questions, Bob?
Absolutely.
All right.
And Sue's got her...
I love his question.
Okay.
her
I'm
phone
always
out, so
ready.
she's going to get the right answers after I, sort of
Well, Bob,
go off on it.
the NFL draft is tonight, and the Patriots pick 4th. Who are they going to take?
Wait a minute.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Wow,
Sue is-
deer in headlights
that.
right here.
Well, that's what I was going
That
for.
looked
So-
great.
Never mind. I don't even know who they're going to take, Bob. So
Okay,
there you go.
okay.
So don't. Of course, nobody knows who they're really going to take. People have their guesses, but anyway. Here's the first question. I want to know if this is real or if this is just Hollywood. Because
Okay.
as you know, I'll mention to Bob a lot of times off the air. I saw this on Law and Order, and I saw this on Law and Order. And Bob's not a big Law and Order fan, so I got to explain what's going on. But can this happen? And sometimes they put it into the show where the person that's on trial, the defendant, is on the witness stand. Okay, the prosecutor, usually who's the DA, is asking questions.
Correct.
So the DA asks a question, whatever it is, and the defense attorney says objection.
Correct.
And the judge says sustained. Okay.
Right.
And now sometimes on the TV program, the defendant who's on the stand says, no, I want to answer that question. Is that even allowed to do in real court, or is that just TV land?
I think it would be allowed. I think it would be idiotic for the defendant to actually take that avenue of
Okay.
testimony.
Have you ever seen it happen?
No.
Okay.
No. But I've seen very few criminal trials.
Okay.
But no, I've never seen it happen. I think if the judge can say it's sustained and you don't have to answer it.
Yeah.
But if the witness decides he's just going to spout out an answer,
Right.
I think he can do that.
You can, and
Yes.
just keep going on.
Right.
Okay.
But
Wow.
it would probably
Right.
be pretty in television. It probably works out to the defendant's advantage, but in reality,
No, it
it'd
usually
probably
works
be
out to
pretty
their
disastrous.
It usually works out to their disadvantage after a
Okay.
while because we're always rooting for the prosecutor in Law and Order. So,
Oh, okay.
so it usually works out against them somehow. But
you
I
haven't
was,
watched much of the old Perry Mason shows. Hamilton Berger always lost.
That's right, except once, right? Didn't he win once?
I don't recall him ever winning.
Well, that was always the joke. Is Perry Mason lost one case, but I don't know who the I don't know who the prosecutor was at the time. So okay, I never knew if that. I go, all the times watching it, I go, I just wonder if this is just made up Hollywood kind of thing, or can defendants, if they're on the stand, actually say no after the objection? No, I really do want to answer the question. It does seem rather silly to do that, but it's TV and then drama and things like that. So okay, if you ever see it happen, I would love to know.
I will let you know.
How that all turned out. That would be something. I do have another law question though for you, Bob, and it was a note that was called in. And last week we had that situation where the juveniles assaulted the couple after the movie. They went to that
Yes.
Minecraft movie, and then they got into the tussle afterwards. We were asked yesterday if anybody's heard. Has anything come of that since then? And I said I haven't heard a thing since then. But anyway,
Well, for one thing, the juveniles would not be prosecuted in the district court. They'd be prosecuted in the family court. And
Okay.
cases
And they
involving,
typically don't, right?
no, cases involving juveniles in criminal cases in family court do not get publicized.
but their arrest was.
Their arrest was.
Yeah, but why not what happens to them afterwards?
That would be something that will take place in the family court, but
Okay.
it's not usually publicized as a result, and their identities would not be released.
Well, that's what the note's about. So it says back to the juveniles that committed the assault and battery last week with the weapon. Can't release their names because the law says you can't. But this is the one time that you cross the line. Their names should be released, exposed, and warn society that they are a menace and should receive the full penalty that an adult would. I am infuriated about this. Okay. Now, if it isn't a minor, but they're charged as an adult, are their names released then? Because they're being charged as an adult.
I don't know, and I don't think it would be the charging part. I think they'd only be names would be released if they were actually convicted or found guilty or pled guilty or something like that. Because the fact that you may be accused of something and you're a minor could taint your entire life, and the accusation may not be in fact correct. You may not be guilty of whatever you were accused of being. So protecting the juvenile's interests that way seems to be appropriate.
How long has this been in place where you don't release minors' names when they've been arrested for anything? Has that always been the case? Even back when you were in law school, we just always had it, right? I don't know.
I don't, in my recollection, I've been around for 50 years on this, I don't recall a time when juveniles' names were being released.
Okay. Is it time to change it, though? Now let's go with that. Should we release
I don't
people,
think
minors' names if they've been charged with, like a felony,
I
as
don't
opposed to a
think you should-
misdemeanor?
I don't think you should release the names at the time of accusation
Okay.
because the accusations may not be right. And if you were a 14-year-old kid and I had alleged that you had beaten up another 14-year-old kid and it became public, and in fact you weren't the one who beat up the 14-year-old kid, it was your twin brother, then your name has been seriously harmed and your reputation has been harmed and you're a minor. And I don't think that would be appropriate. I think that if they're going to release names at all, and again, they'd have to change the law on that, it would be after your conviction or after you've pled guilty to it or something along those lines. I don't
Okay.
think at the
How
accusation
about changing
stage.
the age of,
From 18 down to 16? Or
right,
14?
because according to the ages, it says 16 to 18. I'm sorry, 18 years old and you're doing this nonsense? That charge is an adult.
No, 18, it's when you get past your 17th year, when you start to be your 18th year.
So this one was 18, so then they may announce.
Part of the four that were part of that assault?
Yeah, that's what I just read.
Okay, but we don't have that person's name, do you?
Right. No.
Okay.
I mean, there was something on Facebook where there were 3 kids, and you can use the word children, which I will not because they're old enough to know better. So I do not use the term children, but I'm sure they were more in the 14 age group, and it's been happening throughout Woonsocket, where these juveniles just walk around throwing rocks at windows of random houses, not abandoned houses, but random houses. A woman got them on her Ring camera, and she put it on Facebook. So, of course, you were met with they shouldn't be identified, they shouldn't be this, and then others saying, no, warn people of who might be in your neighborhood doing this to your house.
Yeah.
So that's been an ongoing dispute between people that think they weren't named, but they were shown, to the people that don't think. My opinion, you all know people have Ring cameras. You know cameras are all over the place. Think before you act.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Now, I don't know what the law is in Rhode Island, but Bob, do you know what is the age of consent for sex in Rhode Island? Is it 16?
The last time I did a statutory rape case, which goes back about 30 years now, it was the age of 18.
It was 18. Then.
18.
Okay, that may have changed though.
I shall
don't
look that
think
up.
So. I think that
You think it's still 18?
I think it's still 18 years old. I think that's
In-
the age.
in
where-
Rhode
I
Island.
think
Right.
so too.
Yes.
But I've heard other states it's lower than 18. And the point I'm trying to make is if the age of consent is 16, then if you're 16 years old and create a crime, then the two should be the same.
I don't think it's 16. I think it's 18 years old.
Okay. Sue, are the fingers flying over there?
16.
16 in Rhode
Really?
Island. Okay.
Yep. In Rhode Island, the age of consent is 16 years old. This means that a person 16 years of age or older can legally consent to sexual activity, while a person under 16 cannot.
Okay.
But I'm going to continue reading just to see what you can still have, like you said, statutory rape, maybe depending on the age of the individual.
You know, statutory rape, the case that I did, as I said, more than 30 years ago, the juvenile was under the age of 18, but not. I think she was 17 years old.
Okay.
And statutory rape was where she gave consent to the sexual intercourse, but she didn't have the authority to do so because of her age.
Right.
And therefore, the young man who was involved with her,
How old was he? Do you remember?
oh, he was like 21, something like that. It wasn't
Okay.
a great age difference.
Huge difference, okay.
Right. But I'm pretty sure she was 17 at
And
the
he was
time.
over 20.
And the statutory limit at that time was 18.
Well, if the age of consent is 16, then in Rhode Island, shouldn't it lower the age of if you're arrested for a crime and announcing who you are? Shouldn't that be lowered to 16 as well? And have the two be the same?
I wouldn't think so, because I think the age of 18 is when you are able to vote. You're able to be drafted or not drafted any longer, but join the military. I would think it all would be the same age, and I'm surprised that it's a good thing I'm not doing criminal law any longer.
You'd have to brush up on that.
I'll look it up
I
anyway.
have a good article you can read to brush up on it.
Oh, good.
All right. Any more
I'm gonna-
pertinent information there, Sue?
It would
start
be too
hiring her
much
to be my
reading. It would be
assistant.
too much reading.
All
But
right, all right.
because even though you're 16 and can consent,
Yeah.
you still have to consider if a guy age 30 is, like, do you know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
now now you can fall under so the 30-year-old is her boss and she's got her new job and doesn't want to lose her job. So yeah, she consented,
But now it's harassment.
so now that's next level.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff. All right, we're going to take our first break here on the Coffee and program. So, Sue, we're going to go back to you for a second message from the Blackstone Valley Call and Times newspaper.
Again, as I said, I believe deliveries have been going fairly well. I can't say well because I don't know, but I have not gotten any phone calls. If anybody's having any issues, by all means, please give me a call, and I will take your information, forward it to my circulation department. You can call me at 487-4136. Again, I am the advertising rep for the call, so if anybody's looking to promote some Mother's Day specials, even though our big special is currently running, we do have a lot of advertising options available to you. And Father's Day is right around the corner, so we will be working on that as well. So if you're looking for any advertising, pricing, placement, digital, print, it doesn't matter. Just give me a call at 487-4136.
Bobby, you looking up something important there?
I was looking up. I was trying to verify what Sue had said to see the actual state law on it as opposed to the summary.
Oh, well, I got that article that you can read. This one came up. I'll give it to you on
Well, while they're comparing notes over here, we'll take a break here and coffee and more coming up.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up gołąbki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank N.A. Member FDIC.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
It's Coffee and on ON. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Bob Lauder and Sue Tester-McKenzie. You still working on that New England Patriots question, Bob?
The who?
Yes, that's right. The who is gonna that's right. And for major football fans,
right?
I mean, they just live for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Today is the second best day of the year.
What's the first?
Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, okay.
That's the best day of the year.
All right.
Second best day is draft day. And draft day goes on for a couple of days, but it's day one. That's the most important.
Okay, when you're my age, the word draft and comes up with the idea of going to Vietnam.
Oh.
No. You all remember
closing your window.
I think it was 1968 when they had the national lottery as to whether or not your draft number was going to be activated or not.
All right, we got another call that came in, another message, 766-1240. Caller just says that a child's brain is not fully developed to the age of about 23. I don't know if it's that late, but it's possible. Sue, look that up. Brain development.
Different parts of the brain develop at different...
But yet, you're an adult when you're 18, and you're really an adult when you're 21. So if your brain's not fully developed till you're 23, why not raise everything up to 23?
Of course, some people in my family think the brain hasn't been developed until it's far beyond my present age.
Oh, well, there you go.
I'm still...
everybody's family's different, Bob, so there you go. All right, brain development.
Okay, first, like I just said, they develop over time. Yep. Child's brain development is a continuous process that extends well beyond infancy and childhood, reaching full maturity by the mid to late 20s. While 90% of brain development occurs by age 5, the frontal lobe, which is the most important part, doesn't, which plays a crucial role in impulse control planning, continues to develop into early adulthood. I believe that statement, obviously.
Yeah, so 23 is about right.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. All right, other things going on. Will you be getting up early to watch the Pope's funeral on Saturday? Starts at 4 in the morning our time.
I will probably watch it on reruns.
Catch the highlights? Okay.
I get up early anyway, but that won't be...
No, won't be a thing?
No.
Just our national news just said, people are waiting in line hours for 2 seconds. I mean, the line is continuously moving, but slowly. Yeah. So when you get up there, you can take a look in and keep moving, and that's all you get. And you're in line for 2 or 3 hours just to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe do a quick bless yourself, maybe. But okay.
There are people who pay far more time than that to go to rock concerts. I mean, it's very important to the people. Those people who are in line, they find it very comforting or very important to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll do it.
And maybe that's their only chance to get inside the basilica.
Yeah.
No, tourists can go inside the basilica.
At any time?
Usually, yes.
Yeah? Oh, well, okay. Have you been?
Yes.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay.
Several times. Yeah. And yes, though they have guides and there's things like that, so you can't just run amok in there.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, you can go inside the St. Peter's Basilica.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe the people that are showing up, though, are just their first chance to get inside. And I've always, since you've been there, Bob, I've always wondered, there's so many people there to just to walk through, and so many people are coming for the funeral, and big heads of state like Trump and his wife. Where does everybody stay? What's the hotel situation like there?
Well, I would think.
And what about security?
I would expect, although I haven't heard about it, that the president and his wife would be staying at the embassy, because that would be more secure than any other place that I can think of.
Are there places to sleep at the embassy?
Well, the staff lives at the embassy.
They do. Okay.
So I would think there is some accommodations there. Yes.
Stuff I'm not aware of. So. Okay. Just always wondered, where does everybody stay?
Right.
And
there's a bed and breakfast.
There's a bed and breakfast.
Right. But you can't very well secure a hotel.
Well, that's it. How do they do
for all of X number of people, because people might have been traveling there already and staying there.
Well, that's right. Tourists were already coming.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a good time to have a restaurant there.
Right.
They're near the Vatican. So, all right. Former deputy police chief here in Woonsocket, Tom Caloro, took a job in Sutton, Massachusetts, and now he's the police chief there. Okay. Well, he's got his first issue that has happened, and it's too bad. The police chief of Sutton, Mass, said Wednesday a woman fell to her death at Purgatory Chasm, which is right in the town of Sutton.
Yes.
If you ever drive up 146, you see the signs for Purgatory Chasm. It's a big place for kids to go.
Yep.
For camps and things like that, go there. And here it is in Channel 10's website, the story. Chief Thomas Caloro said a woman who was 49 years old and a mother of 4, she was from Topsfield, Mass., fell to her death. Her name was not released. Mass State Troopers reported to Purgatory Chasm about 2 p.m. To reports that someone fell, and they said the person was pronounced dead at the scene.
That's unfortunate. I remember being at Purgatory Chasm, again, probably about 40 years ago, and it is dangerous.
It is. It can be very dangerous, but I thought there were areas, because we've been, but not the real, more to just take a quick visit with the kids. And I thought there, like when you go skiing, and there are smaller hills and more difficult hills. And I thought it was the same there, where some were more challenging and some, were more accommodating.
Purgatory Chasm State Reservation is a state park noted for a quarter-mile long, 70-foot deep gorge.
Right.
70 feet's a lot of
It's
way
a lot.
to fall. The park is also popular with hikers and rock climbers. So
Yeah,
who
so
bring out their
that's.
equipment to climb the rocks. So
But you got to have the equipment. If she
Yeah.
took the kids, masses on school vacation this week,
that's right. And
took
maybe
them
that's what
down
she
to
did,
go
yeah.
visit, and I mean that's tragic, very tragic.
All right. So very sad situation. That went on there. All right, back
Now,
here.
have they retrieved her as of yet? I know the last account that I heard was it was difficult
To
to
get
to her.
Well, then how did they pronounce her dead? At the
Well,
scene?
so therefore, maybe somebody went down, be it a rock climber.
According to according to the Worcester County District Attorney's Office, in a statement, troopers have secured the scene, and the circumstances of the incident just remain under investigation by the state police detectives. It doesn't say first responders from various agencies were working to recover the woman's body. It doesn't say they actually got her yet.
Yeah, so one person might have gone down with
Check a pulse.
or
Something like that, and say nope. But yeah, once you start falling on rocks, boy, that's rough. All right, we had a situation here in Rhode Island where a motorcyclist got injured after he crashed on 95 South in the Warwick area. Happened around Wednesday evening near exit 31B in Warwick. The victim was thrown from the bike and landed several feet away, which is a good thing because his motorcycle was on fire. And if he landed on his motorcycle on fire, things could have been a lot worse. So this is actually, blessing in disguise that you were thrown, and you were thrown away from the fire. So
It
that's
still
always
surprises me, though, that when I'm on the highway and I see people on motorcycles, so many of them still do not wear helmets. I can't understand.
They just refuse. I have had conversations with some of them.
Yeah. What about state law in Rhode Island? Have to wear a helmet or not?
No.
Okay.
Not in Rhode Island, but in Mass you do, because you see a lot of people on bikes that, like where North Smithfield 146, then you're entering Mass.
Mass, yeah.
Where bikes are pulled over putting on their helmets. Yep. I've seen it many times.
We don't need a ticket for $50.
But they and I get it, because that's their
that's their thing.
Their right to whatever. However, I know many people that have gotten some serious injuries, brain injuries, that never fully recovered from it.
And I'm sure you hit a Sue from the people you've asked, and it's different riding with a helmet and without a helmet.
It is,
and
yes.
they just like it better without a helmet.
Without the helmet.
But it is so terribly dangerous.
It is terribly dangerous, and I'm very happy.
And there's nothing you can say to convince them. It doesn't matter. They could have a friend that
got
injured or died.
Yeah, and that still doesn't.
And most will not change their way of thinking. And you know what? I respect people's thoughts. I don't judge, but if that can happen to a friend of yours and you still choose to not wear a helmet, you're never going to make a difference.
My son who lives in Maine, he has a motorcycle, and I'm very happy to report that he wears a helmet every single time. And I didn't have to tell him this. I said, "What is the law in Maine?" He said, "Well, it really doesn't matter. I'm wearing one, whatever the law says.
Right.
If they have a mandatory helmet law or not, doesn't really matter. I'm still wearing mine." So I said, "Great."
Well, your son's a smart person.
Yeah.
But also, when Sue says, you're not, I don't want to bother with it because I'm not going to, but you have to look at what the impact's going to be on your family.
Mm-hmm.
If you are seriously injured, if you were killed, how are they going to react to this kind of a horrible situation in their lives? And maybe some of the time it's worthwhile saying, okay, I'll put my own desires aside and I'll protect my family.
Right. It becomes a stop thinking of yourself and think of your family. And, and that goes for a lot of things, and not just with men, but men a lot. Women have to, come on, please go to the doctor, make a doctor's appointment, do this, do that. And they don't. Mm-hmm. They just don't. It's a guy thing. But you got to think of the family.
I remember a number of years ago, Bob, where Rhode Island was putting in the law, I guess, about the helmets. But the way it was worded, it was different, and I saw motorcycle riders riding motorcycles, and the helmet was on their elbow.
Yep.
Because it wasn't worded that you had to wear it on your head. You had to wear it. So it was on their elbow.
Okay.
Like, wow. And so they've gone back.
You see that a lot.
They've redone that. I never see anybody wearing it on their elbow anymore. But that was a thing for a while, a good year or so.
Yeah, it was. I remember
motorcycle riders doing that.
You can be the independent man, but you can also be kind of stupid at the same time.
No law against that, Bob.
Yes, no, and there is no law that will correct that.
That's
stupid.
Right. That's right. You can't fix stupid.
You can't fix it.
All right. More coffee hands coming your way, and it's time for the weather forecast being brought to you by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Sunshine today with a high of 73 degrees and a calm wind. Tonight, partly cloudy skies, overnight low of 49. Friday's weather, mostly sunny with a high of 80 degrees and light variable winds. Friday night, a chance of showers, 55. Saturday, a really good chance of showers and maybe even thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. High of 65 degrees Saturday, 90% chance, with a wind from the south up to 25 miles per hour. Saturday night, rain continues but starts to taper off. Sunday, rain is gone, mostly sunny with a high of 59. Monday, sunshine and 71. Tuesday, mostly sunny and 75. And on Wednesday, partial sunshine, 79 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have sunny skies with 58 degrees. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org. The latest Buick and GMC models are available at Tasker Buick GMC in Woonsocket. Buick Encore, Envision, Enclave, and Envista are on the lot waiting for you to take one for a test drive. New GMC crossovers, SUVs, as well as trucks and vans are also available. Thinking of a pre-owned vehicle? Tasker Buick GMC has more than 900 in stock, many under $15,000. Visit online, TaskerBuickGMC.com, or stop into 55 Fortin Drive, Woonsocket. Tasker Buick GMC, you will be satisfied. And remember, there are no tariffs on the vehicles in stock at Tasker Buick GMC.
Hey there, let's take a look at the Chan's entertainment lineup, like Monster Mike Welsh coming up tomorrow night on Friday the 25th. Boston Music Award for the Best Blues Act and inductee of the Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame, not to be missed. Tickets are $30 in advance, $35 at the door. Monster Mike Welsh tomorrow, Friday night the 25th. Then on Saturday the 26th, it's Little Miss and the Boom. 8 to 10. Things will be going boom at 267 Main Street in Woonsocket as a blend of swing, jazz, blues, rockabilly. Little Miss and the Boom brings a retro vibe to the stage with compelling performances from engaging upbeat swing songs to soulful blues to mesmerizing ballads. $20 in advance, $25 at the door. And don't forget, my friends and neighbors, coming up on May 11th, it's Mother's Day. Wouldn't Mom really like to go to Chan's? Reserve early, 765-1900. Chan's, 267 Main Street in Woonsocket. Oh, by the way, they have just great food there, too.
Hello, this is Kevin Callahan. Join me and Pat Holland in the cheap seats with Pat and Kevin. Sports talk every Saturday morning at 9 here on ON, AM, and FM.
It's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Sue Tessier McKenzie and Bob Lauder. And hey, Bob, time for first message from your law office, please.
Thank you. Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. I'd like to talk this morning in a simple, easy-to-read commercial. One that will convince Mrs. Rogers that I was actually paying attention during her first grade reading class at Providence Street School. I'd like to return to the subject of estate planning.
I can't stop laughing. Sorry.
I'm glad somebody finds
this
estate
is what
planning.
we were talking about earlier. Did you plan this?
I'm glad somebody finds estate planning funny and amusing. I wish more of my clients did. The decisions you should make in any... Okay. Mrs. Rogers wins. The decisions you should make in organizing the distribution of your assets following your death. Initially, you should make a list of your assets. What do you have? Real estate, money invested in stocks and bonds, financial institutions, banks, money you have invested in IRAs and 401ks and similar retirement plans, and life insurance policies. Then you should identify any individuals who've added to those assets, either as a joint owner with you or a beneficiary to receive the assets upon your death. Once you know the extent of your present estate, it's time to move to the second part, which I'll discuss in my next commercial. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please contact my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right, Bob, I'm going to ask what I think is a simple question, but you never know.
Not another football question?
Not another football question.
Oh, good.
It seems to make sense that there's a person in Cranston, he's being charged. He allegedly sent indecent material to a 14-year-old. So is that an extra charge because you're sending it to a minor?
Yes,
okay,
definitely.
Okay, because I'm thinking if two adults are sending it to each other and they obviously get caught, okay, you're charged with sending indecent material.
Well, it depends.
Like child pornography stuff. But if you're sending child pornography to a child, is that another charge?
Yes,
okay.
I would believe so.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's what
okay, but hold on. He was sending child pornography or just pornography?
The story says he allegedly sent indecent material to a 14-year-old.
Okay, so
this guy's 36. Now, when they did the follow-up on the investigation, detectives say they found online communications between the man and the juvenile, along with child pornography, on his electronic devices. His bail was set at $5,000 with surety, and he's prohibited from having contact with any minors using the internet, smartphones, or computers.
So he didn't necessarily send child porn.
Well,
but he has it on him. He could have taken his own picture.
Well, he could have, I guess. Yeah, I guess he might be sending pictures of himself to a minor.
Right,
You're right. Okay. But that's still an extra charge, right? If you're sending stuff to minors?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Just double checking on that. So
yeah, I would think so.
That's what this guy in Cranston did, and I guess he was in contact with someone in Portsmouth because that's where the story comes from. That the child was in Portsmouth. So, alrighty. So,
and oftentimes, many of those situations, they know the person. You know, the person could be.
They know the juvenile.
Yeah. Whether it's related or they met at a family party or how else would he have gotten her number? Or was he, where did that come from? And so you have to back it up a bit.
You troll the online, the TikToks and the Instagrams of the world and try to find somebody.
Yeah, so what means did he use to send the photo? That doesn't say.
Usually that's done by email or by file transfer of some sort.
A lot of it's done texting.
Or by text, sure. All right, other things. Let's see, other things going on. Obviously, the Karen Reed trial is going on, Bob. And so
actually, I'm paying a little bit of attention to it this time.
Okay, they had other people. They had the mother of the person that died. I heard on the stand yesterday.
Okay, I hadn't gotten to that part yet.
Okay, well that was
Did it say what her testimony was about? Was it about the relationship
usually
between
Usually they don't say. Usually they just say, "Oh, mother." Let me see if I can find something. The mother of the victim testified on day 2 of the murder trial of Karen Reed in Dedham Superior Court. Peggy O'Keefe testified about learning of the death of her son, John O'Keefe, in January 2022 in the aftermath. A paramedic who responded to the scene in Canton, where O'Keefe was found unresponsive, was on the stand when testimony ended yesterday and will continue today. And so it doesn't say what she actually testified about. Just who notified you of your son's death.
Okay.
Canton Police, I guess.
All right. Because I can't see, unless she had some specific knowledge of the incident.
I don't think she does, because I don't think she was at that house.
So it's just continuity to make the story complete.
Yep.
All right.
And, let's make the... let's get a little sympathy from the jurors. Let's bring up the grieving mother.
Mm-hmm.
Let's...
like she didn't testify the last time.
Well, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
A long time now, so I don't remember who testified. And like we brought up yesterday, there's a new prosecutor, so we might have a whole new plan.
Yeah.
Apparently he
how
does,
to
yes.
do.
Because they
And
started off with the
paramedic.
Paramedics.
That's pretty damning right there. He said, I heard her say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times in a row.
Now, I don't recall, but I thought I'd seen photographs that showed damage to a motor vehicle.
There is, and it's her
Okay.
car.
And did the damage...
It's a taillight.
All right.
Minimal
Does that
damage.
correspond to the injuries that the...
Well, the prosecutor thinks it does.
All right.
The defense says it doesn't.
Does the defense have any explanation for the damage to the vehicle?
I'm not sure. Because the police found the broken taillight remnants in the yard, in the snow.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I don't know if they can connect it to the actual death of John O'Keefe, though.
Even if she
It's all
did
gonna- it's
hit
all gonna
him,
come up.
right? Even if she did hit him, she could have hit his kneecap, and he broke the light. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean she killed him. So how?
Well, right.
Like,
How do you put 2 and 2 together there?
Right. That's what I'm
More's
curious
coming.
about.
The other question I had with the paramedic is: are you absolutely positive it was her that said this? When you look at the video that they show, there's Karen Reed and there's another woman in this raging snowstorm. Makes for a great movie. In a
Right?
raging snowstorm. Are you sure it was her that said this? And is that what she said? But that's what he testified to, so I guess he's pretty confident.
We'll see.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
must
we
have
sure
undergone
will.
cross-examination. Does it say how
It doesn't
effective that
say.
was?
It doesn't say. Maybe the defense is waiting for their time. Doesn't we get
Well, no,
we get so little sound bites? It just this is what he got. This is what he said, and that's all we get.
Well, all right. The prosecution brings in the EMT who testifies.
Yep.
The defense has the opportunity right at that point, after the prosecution's presentation of evidence, to
question?
cross-examine
Okay.
him. The idea of bringing back the EMT during the defense portion of the trial and then trying to cross-examine him doesn't really work into a good overall plan.
Okay.
Among other reasons, because you've left the impression what the EMT said right at the start, and that's sitting with the jury. You don't want to wait 3 days and then come back and try and bring in...
Sure. Well, that makes sense, Bob.
Right.
Yep.
I just just don't have time to sit and watch the whole trial.
But the whole trial does take place, right? I mean, because I know
Court TV has it.
Yeah, it
if
just
you want to watch it all day.
continuously throughout. Which like I have time.
Like you get time to do it, yeah.
But a lot of people, I think, are having it on at their workplaces, sitting
Yeah.
there doing their job while they
While trying to
have
keep
a
that on.
second computer with the entire trial there.
And the only reason I know about the EMT saying I hit her 3 times is because that's what Channel 5 News put on.
Right.
Because this looks pretty damning, so let's put that on the news. And they did. They didn't mention anything about any kind of cross-examination and whether or not he was questioned on it, which is too bad because I would like to know the other side. So okay. But then Karen Reed came out of the trial on the first day, and she was talking to reporters. Said, "I thought things went great. Very happy with her team and how they handled things." So maybe they did. Maybe they shot him down. I don't know.
I have no idea.
It's so tough when you can't watch it. Gavel. to
Yeah,
gavel,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But at the same time, I would think very few defendants in any kind of trial would come out and tell the reporters, "This was a disaster. They're going to nail me to the wall." No, you're going to be positive about it.
Things are not looking good.
Right?
after day one. You're right. Go out there. And maybe she was told by her lawyers, "Oh, okay, go out there, smile, look happy. Things are great." That's all you got to say. So, possibly. All right, Bob, it's time for a second message, and then you're going to be on your way to get to court.
Thank you. Good morning. Earlier, I discussed with you the first stage of estate planning. I'd like to move on to the second stage. Now that you've identified all of the assets presently known to you, which in fact may not include all the assets that you're entitled at the time of your death, it's time to consider the eventual disposition of your assets. I suggest you consider two assets in 2 categories. So, you got to do these commercials for me. Right. First, the specific assets you desire to pass on to others following your death. Yes, Diana, that does include the small clock. And those collective assets corralled into one total estate. In each of these categories, you should be deciding not only upon the initial beneficiary, that is the individual or entity you desire to receive the assets following your death, but also a residual beneficiary, in the event your originally selected beneficiary has died before you. It's frequently prudent for an individual to consider bequest in percentage shares of a collective estate, and also to make provisions for the management of a bequest should the beneficiary you have selected not yet have attained the age of majority or suffer from a serious debilitating physical and or mental condition. In the event you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. And
Might be time to increase that
the
text
font
there,
size-
Bob.
font size?
Increase that text.
That's funny. All right, Bob. Enjoy court.
Thank you very much.
Tell
Hope
them we
to
all
see both of you next week.
Tell them we all say hi, okay?
Thank you.
All right, more Coffee Hands coming up. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for solutions to meet your business banking needs? At Milford Federal, the longest standing community bank in the area, they offer customized solutions for commercial lending, cash management, online banking, and payment processing services. Their business banking team is committed to the growth and success of your business with local decision making and a relationship-based approach. Let Milford Federal be your banking partner. Visit them at milfordfederal.com today. Milford Federal Bank, our community, your bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and MLS number 465956.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
It's time for the 15th annual Breakfast with the Saints at the St. Anarton Cultural Center on Sunday, April 27th from 8 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Enjoy a delicious breakfast buffet under the center's magnificent frescoes. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door and are available at Belo's Flowers, Creative Impressions, The Honey Shop, Pine Swamp Place, Timeless Antiques, Vos True Value Hardware. Visit the St. Anarton Cultural Center website, or to reserve a table, call 401-486-9380.
All right, Coffee and on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Sue Tessier McKenzie. Bob Lauder had to go off to court. And so, Sue, the deadline's coming up, and the deadline is May 7th. And you know what this deadline is for?
I do, but I forgot.
To have your real ID.
Yes. Okay, I was going to say, because I know that the date's been thrown at me a few times.
The government has been trying to do this for, I think, the last 5 years. Of course, COVID got in the way. And so they kept pushing it out, and they haven't pushed this one out for a long time. So it looks like this one's going to stick. So the question, do you have a real ID?
No.
No? Okay. Well, congratulations. You're part of the 40% or so in Rhode Island that don't have one.
Well, I think
62% of Rhode Islanders have obtained it.
Right. Now, I think a lot of people, those that have obtained it are probably planning on traveling or have traveled frequently. Mm-hmm. So while they may not have plans, they're saying, you know what, let's just do this. What happens if you get it after May 7th?
Oh, that's fine.
Right.
But it's starting on May 7th.
Starting on May 7th is when it's enforced.
When you go to the the airport, that's when I'm going to be looking for it, and they won't let you on.
I'm going to have to look
TSA.
I'm going to have to look into it as far as what's the process?
You go to any registry.
Oh, it is a registry.
Or you could go to the AAA if they're doing their registry stuff there. But you got to have a few forms with you, and you got to have your birth certificate or your passport or your electric bill. There's a few things you got to bring, and then they can process it for you. I have mine. I did it a while ago, so I'm all set. But it also, and people say, and people might be saying, well, I don't plan on flying, so this doesn't affect me, so why go and get it? However, you won't be allowed to get into any federal buildings, like courthouses, without one either. And so my question is, if you don't have a real ID and you get called for jury duty, and then you show up without your real ID,
Right.
and they don't let you in, have you defaulted on going to jury duty?
And that was a question for Bob.
That would have been a question for
That
Bob.
would have been a really good question.
now-
Save it for next week.
I'll try to remember that. And yeah, and now what do you do? No, I was at the courthouse, and how do you prove that? But they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have my real ID.
Yeah.
I don't have. I don't
I
know
think
the answer to that.
I think the push has consistently been you won't be able to travel, you won't be able to fly, you won't be.
That's the biggie.
And that is why so many people are saying, "Well, I have no intentions of," so they don't need it.
So why bother?
So they, I think they have to make a better push on what other things
others?
can be affected by that.
Those are the other ones I remember. Federal buildings, mostly courthouses. Or if you're going to go...
Can you walk into the post office? Isn't that considered a federal building?
Yes.
But they don't ask for ID, so you'd be okay.
The answer is yes. But if you're down in Washington, D.C., and you want to get into the Pentagon, for whatever reason, I don't know if they'll let you in because you don't have your real ID with you. So, all right. Other things going on, and I'm not too crazy about this, but the Food and Drug Administration is halting its quality control program for milk and dairy products. I'm like, do we want to do that? The FDA says the Food Emergency Response Network Proficiency Testing Program, got all that? Will eventually continue in another lab, but in the meantime, the agency will work with the states to protect the milk supply. The move comes after 10,000 jobs were cut across the Department of Health and Human Services by the Trump administration. I'm like, oh boy. So who's looking after the quality of the milk and the dairy products? This Food Emergency Response Network Proficiency Testing Program?
Wow.
They're going to find out after the fact. Hey, the milk's bad.
Yeah, right.
But before it goes out, I'm like, that's not good. So, all right. So something else to worry about, Sue.
I know,
Something
right?
else to keep you on your toes.
We need more things to worry about.
So we needed Bob back here, and this goes back to our discussion of should minors have their names released when they do bad things.
Yep.
Right down in Florida, Central Florida teenager accused of trying to poison his adoptive mother by pouring bleach in the milk. 17-year-old. We don't have a name. 17-year-old boy was arrested this past weekend. Authorities say he admitted to pouring bleach in his 77-year-old mother's milk because he was upset with her. She noticed, quote, an intense chemical taste, unquote, and then called authorities. The boy was arrested on several felony charges, including attempted murder and aggravated abuse of an elderly person, yet we don't have his name because he's 17.
That's nonsense.
And I think Bob...
Of course, the whole thing is nonsense. And quality control could not have helped that milk, bad milk.
No,
that, not an issue. But yeah, that just doesn't... Yeah.
It's
because he was... he was mad at her.
Upset with her. And he probably said over time, oh, I'm going to kill you, or I want to kill you, or something like that, in a heat of rage, that kind of thing. And now she tastes the intense chemical taste.
And it was, did he say stepmom?
Adoptive mother.
Adoptive mother.
Yeah, so.
Wow.
So,
first step, unfortunately.
And these are the times where we should have this person's name. So, but we won't, so okay. Okay. The way the headline read, I'm like, it says naked man shot during home invasion. Does that mean the person at home was naked and shot someone that was clothed coming in, or the other way around? And it took me a while. It was the man breaking into the house.
Wow.
That wasn't wearing anything. Police are investigating after a naked man was shot during a home intrusion. This happened in California. The suspect was shot late Tuesday morning. Police say a resident opened fire on the man after he broke into the home through a front window. The man was shot multiple times in his lower extremities and remains hospitalized in stable condition.
Sorry.
Investigators believe the suspect was under the influence. Wow. Okay.
He was shot in his lower extremities. I'm sorry. I get that. Hold on. Let me slap my hand for laughing at that.
But if you're shot in your lower extremities after... I'm fine. The man broke into the... Okay, he's coming in the front window. Well, if you're breaking into a home, coming in the front window, you're probably going in head first.
Right.
So now the homeowner is actually waiting for
you to get into the house. Well, there was some kind of a lore about that. Like, I don't know if I can't remember if it was a Law and Order episode or whatever, where it was a. But I wasn't going to go in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
so
they and try to.
That was their defense.
Their defense is I was not in the house, so therefore that person wasn't defending their own property because I wasn't in the house.
So we have to wait.
So
now.
who knows? I wonder.
So he waited till you're fully in the house and standing up straight.
And then realizes you're naked. And now we know where we're shooting.
We're shooting at the legs and other places maybe. So, okay. You just never know.
You can't make this stuff up.
You can't make this stuff up. How about this? It looks like chimpanzees enjoy a good happy hour with each other. New video recorded by scientists in West Africa shows wild chimps eating fermented breadfruit together and getting drunk. It's the first time the shared behavior has been caught on film. Researchers suggest using the alcohol for social bonding could explain why humans evolved the ability to metabolize alcohol. All right. The findings were published Monday in the journal Current Biology. Someone's taking notes on this.
Yes.
Let's see what happens. So they all get together and they toast each other. Yay to us and.
Wow.
More fermented breadfruit, please.
I would absolutely. You see people, drinking in a bar stool. Next thing you know, you're laughing like crazy and you fall off the bar stool.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen that on video with, a couple of monkeys up in a tree laughing like crazy, and then one of them falls out of the darn tree. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
It does sound like that. In case you were wondering, L.A. is still the smoggiest city in the United States. Always have been.
Always will be.
Maybe always will be. It's just the way it is. 25th time it has been named number one in the 26 years. They've been doing this for 26 years. They've been number one for 25 years.
Who was the other one?
Congratulations. California is the home to 10 of the smoggy cities. That includes San Diego and the state's capital, Sacramento. It doesn't say who number 2 is.
No, I mean, from, like you said, 26 years, so 25 years. It was that one.
Who was the other one?
Who was the other one? The 1 year, whenever that was.
It doesn't say. Today is National Take Your Daughters and Sons to Work Day. I didn't realize that. That's today. It's
Neither of mine would want to join me. They're 31 and 37. Last thing they want to do is hang out with mom all day.
The 4th Thursday in April is the annual Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day, an opportunity to show children how businesses operate. It's also a way to open them up to new interests. Originally founded as National Take Your Daughters to Work Day, the event was expanded to include the boys in 2003.
They should
the boys complained, said, how come the girls are getting a day off from school and we're not?
Yeah, they should do a Take Your Grandchild to Work Day. Because this way you'd still,
You probably could.
I think it would be well, but no, do it with a purpose like that. Making it an official day because my grandson would okay, DJ, go and do that. You help out with this. Go pick up the copy. Really showing them because that's the generation that could use that type of work environment.
When my wife was working, she worked in the corporate offices of Cumberland Farms, and they would promote this.
Yeah.
We want you to bring the kids in. And they set up programs
for them.
The kids to do.
I love it. That's
you
fabulous.
You brought them in, you sat with mom or dad for a little while, but then you went off with the other kids. And they, tore the plant. They had their big stuff going on in Canton. Tore the plants. This is where we make the ice cream. This is where we process the milk. All that stuff. So they had big programs going on all day.
That would
all
be
day
wonderful.
For them. So my son was able to take advantage of that one year. But my daughter, and then it kind of got phased out. So my daughter never wanted to come with me here because what time do I got to get up?
Right.
It's like, no,
no, thank you.
I'm all set. Okay. So those wildfires in New Jersey are going crazy, and John Ward pointed this out yesterday. The amount of acreage would encompass the whole city of Woonsocket. So try to imagine the entire city of Woonsocket on fire.
Right.
That's what we're looking at here. And so now an air quality alert has been issued for New York City. the smoke's going north.
And then it's going to end up coming this way. I think they said I could be wrong, tomorrow then, by Friday. I keep thinking, what day is it today? Today's already Thursday. So I think New York is today and we may be tomorrow. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, they do say that the fire is 50% contained. 13,000 acres have been destroyed. Over 5,000 people were forced to evacuate because of the fire. They expect full containment possibly as soon as tomorrow night, Friday night, with rain entering the forecast on Saturday morning, which they're very happy about.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So it's like, wow. So and no word yet on how that has started.
I know. I haven't heard any of that.
On that yet. Okay. And we got to run. That'll do it for the show. Thank you very much for listening in. Thanks to Bob Lauder for being here earlier. And Sue, thanks for being here.
And I just want to wish my husband, Ron, a very happy birthday today.
Very good. Stay tuned for Gary Smith and the crew. Do you remember's coming up right after the news?
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.
NBC News Radio. I'm Michael Cass.